Welcome back to our English class, 8th graders. I am Akshay Singh,
And I'm Monica Iordache.
and today we are going to do a very simple topic actually. We are going to find out the vocabulary for rules and instructions. So let's move on. But remember, before we start with that, let's check some of the homework. This was the homework given last time for the past tenses. If you remember, the past simple, the past continuous, the past perfect, and the past perfect continuous. So let's see how we can change this.
Herbie loves trains. He first saw a train when he was 5 years old and he was absolutely fascinated. So we have past simple for the first two verbs.
He goes to a different train station every week, writes down the engine number of every train he sees, present tense. He has been doing this since he was 7. By the time he left school, he had collected over 5,000 different engine numbers. Had collected, if you remember, the past perfect, action that had happened before another action. And Monica?
At one time, while he was standing at a station, he saw something very strange. We have was standing, past continuous, and saw, past simple for the short action.
This is a nice one. He had been waiting for a train for an hour. Action going on in the past, past perfect continuous, going on for a long time. When he suddenly saw, simple past, an old steam locomotive coming down the tracks.
It did not stop at the station, and when it passed, Herbie saw that all the passengers were wearing old-fashioned clothes. Did not stop, it's a negative of simple past, were wearing, it's past continuous, and past, again, we have the simple past.
And he told the station manager about this, but the manager said that no steam locomotive had passed through the station for years. Again, we are using past perfect, had passed, and that the last one had crashed, killing everyone on board. The past perfect for an action that had happened before another action in the past. So I hope you got that right, and let's move on. We are going to talk about the vocabulary that we use when we are talking about rules. So first let's have a look at some rules.
In my school, I can't use my mobile phone.
You can listen to music in your bedroom, a rule.
You have to wash your plate.
You cannot walk on the grass.
You must stand in a line.
And before you get on the bus, you have to buy a ticket. So
Putem observa folosirea verbelor modale atunci când exprimăm informații despre reguli sau instrucțiuni.
So you can see that when we are talking about rules, we use words like can't, you can, have to, cannot, must, have to. And here we go on about what we can use when we are talking about rules. Some useful ways. We use must. You can use must to talk about what's compulsory or obligatory. Remember, must is a modal verb and is followed by the infinitive without the to, as in the example.
Vom folosi verbul modal must pentru a vorbi despre ceva ce este imperativ, obligatoriu. Must este un verb modal urmat de infinitivul scurt.
As in the example, you must leave, not you must to leave, but you must leave by 8 p.m. You don't need to add an S for the third person singular, it's a modal verb. He must leave by 8 p.m.
The negative form is mustn't and it means not allowed. You mustn't smoke here. It's forbidden.
So students, actually you can see that We can also use not allowed when we are talking about rules. Another way to talk about rules is by saying have to. This means the same almost, like must, although we tend to use it more for general rules and obligations, such as you have to drive on the left in the UK.
It's not a motto, which means that the ending changes for third person singular. As we can notice in the example, he has to start work at 6 a.m. every day.
Similarly, for the negative or question form, use do or does. Do you have to leave early today?
Does she have to answer the phone at work?
I don't have to wear a uniform at work.
She doesn't have to work weekends.
Using have to and the negative form also.
We can use can. You can draw on the wall. This is a modal verb and it does not change in the third person singular. As we can see in the example, he can draw on the wall. And a negative?
You cannot or you can't sign the paper. And the interrogative, can I sign the paper? Quite simple, not much to worry about. So, we need to try some sentences. This is your favorite part. It's not so difficult. We have the words with us for rules: must, mustn't, can, can't, have to, and has to. So, let's see if we can make some rules using these words.
I'm sorry. You dash use your mobile in the class. You dash go outside to use it.
And we will say,
you can't use your mobile in the class. You must go outside to use it.
And let's have a look at the second one. Students, why don't you all try this one? Tourists dash take photographs in the museum. They dash leave their cameras outside. What do you think the answer can be? They can't take photographs and they have to leave their cameras outside. Some of you all may have thought about a different word. That also can be correct. I can say out here, tourists mustn't take photographs in the museum, and they should. Should is not here, but that can also be used at this place. They have to leave their cameras outside.
You dash forget to hand in your homework. I dash check it before I leave. And the correct answers are, you mustn't forget and I have to check it before I leave.
The teacher.
Cu precizarea că modalul have to este folosit atunci când nuanța obligativității nu e la fel de puternică ca în cazul modalului must.
And to continue, again some sentences. You dash stand in the queue to buy the ticket. You dash break the queue. A queue is basically a line of people. So this one should be, you have to, or you must also. You have to stand in the queue to buy the ticket. You mustn't break the queue.
A good student can't be late for class. He or she must be punctual.
And the last one, a football player dash use his hands to score a goal. He dash kick the ball. In football, you can't use your hands to score a goal. He has to kick the ball. So here are some examples of rules, quite simple. Remember these words. And we are moving on now to the vocabulary we need to give instructions. You can write instructions or you can speak instructions.
Alright, instrucțiunile sunt secvențe prin care ni se explică așa cum funcționează o anume mașinărie sau un anume sistem. Pot fi scrise sau transmise oral deopotrivă.
And let's have a look at these simple instructions. You might have seen them many times. This is just an example with the pictures. You can understand them. First, wet hands with water. Apply soap and rub hands for 20 to 30 seconds. Rinse hands with water.
Dry hands with paper towel and throw paper towel in the bin.
Please. Let's move on now and have a closer look at instructions. There are two parts to giving instructions, what we call sequences and then the actions. When I talk about sequences, I mean words like this: first, then, next, after that, finally. So sequences actually help order your instructions. It's like the 1, 2, 3, 4 of your actions. What did you do next? And these are your some sequences.
Atunci când dăm instrucțiuni, vom folosi aceste expresii secvențiale pentru a nu bulversa procesul de funcționare.
And maybe you'd like to make a chicken sandwich. So we have a little recipe about how to make it. Instructions. Let's have a look. Here I am using my sequences. This is what we are trying to show you. First, roast a chicken and slice it into thick pieces.
Then, toast your favorite bread, 2 slices.
So these are your sequences. First, then, after that, put mayonnaise and mustard on the toast and then the chicken slices.
Next, add your vegetables.
Tomatoes, lettuce, onions, cucumbers, etc. And finally, put a couple of slices of cheese on the sandwich and then close it with the other piece of toast. And finally, again, enjoy the chicken sandwich. Should we move on, Monica?
Yes, of course. Let's see.
Okay, so we talked about sequences. What we talked about first, then, next. So we need that for instructions. The second part about writing instructions, please put the actions in the imperative. And what exactly is the imperative? This is the same example. Now we have underlined and shown you the imperatives. These are imperative verbs. Roast, slice, toast, put, all verbs have imperatives. So these are the verbs. I don't say roasted, will roast, it's just roast. First, roast a chicken and slice it into thick pieces. Then toast your favorite bread, 2 slices.
After that, put mayonnaise and mustard on the toast and then the chicken slices.
Next, add your vegetables. Again, a imperative: tomatoes, lettuce, onions, cucumbers.
And finally, put a couple slices of cheese on the sandwich and then close it with the other piece of toast.
So remember, students, sequences and imperatives for writing instructions. And now we have a short video for you just to help you remember what imperatives, how instructions can be written.
Imperatives tell people what to do. Put the sugar in with the butter and mix it all up with a wooden spoon. Positive instructions. To make the imperative and give instructions, we use the infinitive without to. Stir in the flour a little at a time. Roll out the dough gently. Put the oven on at 190 to get it hot. Negative instructions. To make the instruction negative, we put do not or don't before the verb. Don't turn the oven up too high, the biscuits will burn. Don't use your hands too much. Don't forget to wash your hands before you cook.
So students, it's quite simple. When writing or speaking or giving instructions, remember, use sequences like first, then, next, finally, and use the imperative form of the verb, take, put, add, verbs like those.
E important să vă amintiți, atunci când scrieți sau dați instrucțiuni, trebuie să folosiți expresiile secvențiale, dar și forma imperativă a verbelor utilizate.
And now, students, why don't we all try making this instructions, writing down these instructions to make a cup of tea. You can see some blank spaces, so let's see if we can fill it up. You can see that somewhere I have put the imperatives, in some imperatives are not there, and the sequencer. So let's start. I think it'll be first, add a tea bag to your favorite cup. Then we need another sequencer. Next, and we need an imperative.
Boil water and pour it over the tea bag.
The next one.
Wait 3 to 5 minutes for the tea to brew without stirring or squeezing the tea bag.
Imperative again. And the fourth one, again an imperative. Then remove, a sequencer and then an imperative. Remove the tea bag and pour in a dash of milk. And lastly, what do you think?
We have the sequencer finally and the imperative. Stir with a spoon to blend evenly.
Sometimes to stir a cup means with a spoon, you just mix it up slightly. Stir with a spoon to blend evenly. So, not so difficult at all. So, I think now it's your favorite part. It's your turn. You have to give us some instructions. Try to write them down. Try to remember. Use sequencers. Use the imperative. You can write the instructions for any process that you would like to describe. We have just given some examples. If you want to choose one of this, please do so and write down the instructions.
Este timpul să realizați singur propriul manual de instrucțiuni, folosind regulile pe care le-am învățat referitoare la expresiile secvențiale și verbele la imperativ.
That's it then, students, from us today. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we hope to see you the next time.
Thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day.